Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Alhamdulillahirabbil alamin wa bihi nasta'in ala umuri dunya waddin. Wassalatu wassalamu ala asyrafil anbiya'i wal mursalin sayyidina wa maulana Muhammadin amma ba'd. First of all, let us express our utmost gratitude to our God, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, who has been giving us His mercy and blessing so that we could gather here without any incident. Secondly, all prayers are presented to our Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the greatest leader who has guided us from the darkness to the brightness. Ladies and gentlemen, we are profusely elated to take this opportunity to introduce our distinguished guests of today's event. The Excellency, the Rector of UIN Salatiga, Mr. Professor Dr. Zakiuddin MIJ. The Excellency, the Vice Rector of Academic Affairs, Professor Dr. Muhserozi MAG. The Excellencies, the invited speakers, Mr. Keith Haggard, PhD, and Mr. Dr. Anuncius Gumawang Jati, MA. The Excellency, the event manager as well as speaker, Mrs. Roro Dewi Mustikasari, PhD. The Excellency, the Director of the Postgraduate Study of UIN Salatiga, Professor Dr. Miftahuddin MAG. The Excellency, the Vice Director of the Postgraduate Studies of UIN Salatiga, Ms. Nur Malihah, PhD. The Honorable, the Head of Magister of English Education Study Program, Dr. Setia Rini, MAG. The Honorable, all the Head of the Study Programs of the Postgraduate Studies of UIN Salatiga. The Honorable, all participants and all the committees. Thank you for taking the time to join us at this prestigious colloquium. Your participation is greatly appreciated, and so we are delighted to have you all here today. Ladies and gentlemen, and all the distinguished guests, presenters, and participants of this event, I would like to welcome you all to the International Hybrid Interdisciplinary Colloquium, Gen AI Tools for Research, Practices, Policies, and Ethics Consideration. My name is Situ Zulfa, your Master of Ceremony as well as moderator of today's event. Before we getting started, allow me to invite you all to open this event by reciting Basmalah together. May this colloquium today run well. Now, we would like to invite you all to sing the Indonesian national anthem, Indonesia Raya, and then followed by the hymn of UIN Salatiga. Ladies and gentlemen, please stand up.
nyata anak manusia, unggul profesional berkarya nyata, berkarakter dan penuh pesona, harumkan bangsa negara tercinta. Universitas Islam Negeri Salatiga jadi anugerah untuk semua. Jayalah UIN-ku, jaya agamaku, abadi dharma baktimu. Jayalah UIN-ku, jayalah bangsaku, abadi dharma baktimu.
Thank you, everyone. Please now take your seats back. Ladies and gentlemen, it is time to listen to the opening remarks from the head of Master of English Education, Miss Tiarini, MPD. The time is yours.
Thank you. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Bismillah, alhamdulillah. Thanks to Allah the Almighty who has given us His blessing, so that today we are here to have a very great international hybrid interdisciplinary colloquium. And here we have Dr. Gumawang Jati from ITB Bandung, and we have still in Australia, Mr. Kate Haggard, who will be joining us for a few minutes. And also we have Bu Dewi as the third presenter. First of all, I would like to thanks to the Vice Director of the Postgraduate Studies of UIN Salatiga, Ibu Nurmaliha PhD. Here I would like to inform you that this colloquium is held by English Education Department for the master program, and we have, alhamdulillah, participants from online for around 200 and more. Thank you for joining us. And also we have many teachers who are willing to come here to listen to the international hybrid interdisciplinary colloquium with our spectacular presenters. Yeah. And I mean here is that both are the expert of IT, ICT, and also now we have AI. We hope that after having the presentation from those three presenters, we will get more insights. And Ibu, I would like to let you know also that in this occasion, actually I would like to promote the English Education Department opening the enrollment. Please join us to be the part of the family of TBI S2 UIN Salatiga, and you can register for the second gelombang ya. Gelombang kedua yang akan berakhirnya nanti di bulan Juli. Semoga banyak yang akan berpartisipasi di sini. Jadi satu hal yang menarik, prodi kami sudah terakreditasi unggul. Ya, jadi tidak juga kalah dari prodi-prodi dari perguruan tinggi yang lain, sehingga monggo mari kita bergabung di TBI S2 UIN Salatiga, okay? Dan SPP-nya murah sekali dibandingkan dengan SPP yang ada di sana-sana. Cukup dengan 5 juta rupiah per semester loh. Nah, bagi yang menghendaki beasiswa bisa cari-cari lagi nanti, banyak sekali beasiswa. Kuliahnya apalagi hanya hari Jumat dan Sabtu. Senin sampai Kamis bisa bekerja dulu dan perkuliahan ada di hari Jumat dan Sabtu. Kami akan menunggu kehadiran dan kedatangan saudara-saudara semua, Bapak Ibu guru ya. Matur nuwun rawuhipun, tapi juga kami tunggu untuk join loh nggih, mendaftar menjadi mahasiswa. Jadi nanti klik aja di, jadi promosi kan nggih. pmb.winsalatiga.ac.id, nanti ada extension lagi di pmb.pasca.winsalatiga.ac.id. Nanti kalau untuk informasi lebih lanjut bisa bertanya ke saya. CP-nya masih nyimpen banyak semua ya. Nah, this is all that I can try to inform you, and I do hope that this great moment can be so beneficial for us. Alhamdulillah, that is all my short speech. Thank you. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you very much to Ms. Setiarini for delivering the amazing opening remarks. Let us give a warm round of applause to her. After listening to a very amazing speech by Ms. Rini, let us now listen to the speech by our Vice Director of Postgraduate Studies of UIN Salatiga, Mrs. Nurmalihah, PhD. The time is yours.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good afternoon, everyone. So, alhamdulillahirabbil alamin. The Honorable Professor Imam Sutomo, the Honorable our guest lecturers, Ibu Haryati MPD from Education Ministry in Salatiga, and all teachers coming from Salatiga, and all the audiences coming both offline and online. So, it is my pleasure to welcome all of you in this interdisciplinary colloquium. And the topic today is Gen AI Tools for Research Practices, Policies, and Ethic Consideration. So let me welcome our distinguished speakers today, and thank you for coming. Our first speaker is Bapak Dr. Gumawang Jati. He is an expert dealing with technology. We will learn a lot about technology, especially Gen AI. Selamat datang, Bapak. And the second speaker is Kate Haggard, PhD, from University of Technology, Sydney, which will be here online. Yeah, Bu Dewi. Oh, he is here. So, good afternoon, Kate. Good afternoon from Indonesia, and good morning from Australia. And the third speaker is my lovely partner in crime, my colleague, Ibu Roro Dewi Wahyu Mustikasari, PhD. Thank you for managing this event. And also, thank you also for all my dear students who joined this colloquium. Well, on behalf of the Direct Graduate School Pascasarjana UIN Salatiga, Professor Miftahuddin, I would like to welcome all the audiences for your participation to join this great event. And we know that, hi Kate, good morning from Australia and good afternoon from Indonesia. Thank you for your time. All right. Well, so we know that AI is not something that we should reject it. We should reject, we should deny. So this is something that we have to face, because the technology always develop any time. But of course, there will be some regulation, there will be some, what is it called? Convention, how to use AI wisely. Yeah? And we will learn a lot from these three experts today. about how to use the AI, especially the generative AI, and then we will also learn about the ethics, yeah. And we know that almost all students, mahasiswa yang di sini sudah pernah pakai AI, ada yang sudah pernah pakai chat GPT. Oh, also the teachers use ChatGPT, yeah. So before this, I discussed a lot with Bapak Dr. Gumawang. He said that, yes, so many students right now have used ChatGPT, including the teachers. But sometimes we are not able to differentiate whether this is really from students' thinking or this is from ChatGPT, yeah, and we do not know the actual result, yeah, whether this is really from the students or this is something from ChatGPT and so on and so on. That's why we need an ethics, how to use it in a correct way, wisely, and many things. And we will learn from them because, yeah, I don't have the capacity to talk about this a lot. So just to save the time, because it's already almost 2 p.m., I declare to open this session by reciting Basmalah together. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Okay, so everybody please enjoy this interdisciplinary colloquium with the 3 speakers, and I'm sure that we will learn a lot from them. Thank you. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you very much to Mrs. Nurmaliha, PhD, for delivering the wonderful speech, and let us give some round of applause as well for her. Dear ladies and gentlemen, we have come now to the end of the ceremonial program of our event today. We would like to thank all the distinguished guests and also the participants for joining us. We would also like to apologize for any inconvenience and mistakes that may have been said or done that may occurred during the event. Thank you, have a great day, and wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. As I have already mentioned before that I'm also the moderator for today's event, so I just closed the ceremonial program and now I came back to the core event for the day. So, ladies and gentlemen, now we're coming to the main agenda for this colloquium. We have an exciting panel of speakers lined up for us today, and we hope that we will find their presentations and discussions engaging and also informative. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the colloquium. However, to ensure the event to run smoothly with less potential disruptions, we would like to take a few moments to explain the rules for today's agenda. For the offline participants, please make sure your cell phones are on silent mode, and for the online participants, please leave your speakers muted so we do not disturb the speakers and other attendees. Second, we encourage you all to participate in the discussions and ask questions related to the seminar topic during the Q&A session at the end of each session. Please make sure you keep your question brief and to the point to allow for productive discussion. Third, we request our attendees to refrain from any side conversations during the seminars, as it can be distracting for other participants. And last but not least, please make sure you stay for the duration of the seminar, as it will provide a holistic understanding of the topic. We hope that you will adhere to these rules and participate fully in the seminar. Thank you for your cooperation, and without further ado, let's begin the seminar. However, before we proceed any further, let me introduce myself. My name is Siti Zulfa, and also I would like to introduce the speakers of the day who will be sharing their insights and knowledge with you today. Hold on a minute. I'm looking for the data. I'm really sorry for the inconvenience. So we have three speakers here, which are Mr. Keith Haggard, Mr. Gunawang, and also Mrs. Dewi Mustikasari. Really sorry for the inconvenience. The first one I would like to introduce to you the Dr. Keith Haggard. He is a senior lecturer at School of International Studies and Education, University of Technology, Sydney, Faculty of Arts and Social Sciences. He is also an early career researcher with a focus on learning and instructional design, educational technology, and civics and citizenship education. His current work explores how online learning platforms can contribute to the formation of active citizenships among Australian youth. He has an impressive background, having worked as a high school teacher, school leader, and independent learning designer. Mr. Keith holds a PhD in Justice Pedagogy, the possibilities and challenges for thick citizenship education among Australian school students from the University of Technology, Sydney. Additionally, he has received professional recognition as an Apple Distinguished Educator and a Google Certified Teacher. His commitment to education and civic engagement is commendable. The second speaker I would like to introduce you today is Mr. Gunawang. Please hold on a minute, as I'm looking for the data. It slipped a little. I'm so sorry, mister. Mr. Gumawang Jati has been teaching English at the Bandung Institute of Technology since 1990. He served as the director of the ITB Language Center, or ITB Language Center, from 2000 to 2008, where he also worked as an academic manager for 10 years. Mr. Jati has been involved in various teacher training projects, including collaborations with the British Council. Notable projects including designing the Work Ready teacher training program in collaboration with the British Council and HSBC, organizing the British Council webinar series, and developing the English for Indonesia teacher training program. He has also planned and executed the technology-based education teacher professional development program in South Kalimantan, benefiting 600 teachers. His current professional interests lie in computer-assisted language learning, internet communication technology, and technology-enhanced language learning. He also currently serves as the president of Indonesia Technology Enhanced Language Learning, ITEL, and has designed an interactive online learning course using digital comics in collaboration with Siamu and Siamolek in 2021. And now we would like to introduce you to our last speaker, which is our dearest Miss Dewi. So our Miss Dewi receives a PhD degree at the Faculty of Arts and Social Sciences, University of Technology, Sydney, Australia. She works for the English Education Department of UIN Salatiga, a government university in Central Java, Indonesia. Her research interests include computer-assisted language learning, CALL, or COLL, technology-enhanced language learning, learning design, and also teacher practice. Now, as we have covered up some overview and also profile of our speakers, we would like to move to our first presentation, which will be presented by Mr. Keith. For Mr. Keith, you will be given for about 30 minutes to deliver your presentations, and so the time is yours. Thank you.
intelligence and research. What I want to do to start off with, though, is start off with a little bit of an activity to get us thinking. So I'm going to pose a question for you, and this is the question that I'd like to start off with. What are some tips for remembering your password? You know, we have passwords everywhere these days to get into our phones and into our computers and our bank accounts and everything like that. And I think this is a really good question to showcase the power of artificial intelligence. And it's a good starting point for our conversation. It's got nothing really to do with educational research, but it does highlight some things that I think we'll talk about a little bit later on. So I asked this question to Google's Gemini artificial intelligence. If you don't know, Gemini is the inbuilt artificial intelligence in Google search. It's replaced Bard, which was Google's development version. It's only been out for about a month, but it is a fundamentally different proposition to the traditional search. So traditional search algorithms normally scrape the web and then they try to match the search query with information that they find on various web pages. And then the users can click on the link and go to that web page and read the information for themselves. What Gemini does, though, is quite different. Gemini uses large language models that have been trained on the internet and the incredible amounts of data that is available there to try to formulate answers to the questions that you type into it. And it gives you the answers there and then. So no need to click anywhere else, it's immediate. So I'm sure we've all heard about ChatGPT, and I heard you introduce that originally, but I think this is fundamentally different. And that difference is important. In this case, rather than having to access a website and then craft a prompt and then try to get an answer, Gemini is built into Google search. It becomes a seamless and almost unobservable part of the searching the web process. I think that is something that's going to become very common in the future. So let's see how it actually goes. So this is the first question. They're not research questions, but they're the kind of questions people might ask an artificial intelligence assistant. So they're a good one. So let's see how Gemini went when I asked it, what are some tips for remembering my password? And you can see there's a picture of the text. And I've just pulled out one of its pieces of advice, and that's in the bold text there. It says, you should try variations of your name. Try your name along with other personal details like your birthday, and it goes on. No. This sets off all kinds of alarm bells for me. You can ask anyone, even with the most basic sense of digital literacy, and they will say, do not use things like your name. Do not use personal details like your birthday as part of your password. So it would appear that Gemini is perhaps not best placed to give us advice about being cyber secure as we might like. All right, so maybe that's a hard question, okay? Let's give it another one. So imagine I'm in the kitchen and I'm cooking homemade pizza. My kids love homemade pizza. They love to, make little faces out of the salami and all of that kind of stuff, all right? But what I'm having trouble is getting my cheese to stick to my pizza base. And that means my pizzas aren't quite as tasty as I like. Now, this is the kind of question that people ask their home assistants like Siri or Alexa all of the time. There are lots of possible answers. Let's see what Gemini came up with. It says, what you should do is mix about 1/8 of a cup of non-toxic glue, like Elmer's school glue, into the sauce to add tackiness. I have some concerns. I don't think that my pizza's taste is going to be improved by adding glue into the base of the pizza. I mean, it does specify that it's non-toxic glue, so I guess that's a good thing, right? But I have some real concerns about that. Of course, these are light-hearted examples, right? And I don't want you to think these are, sometimes there are good answers that Gemini does, but it shows that it's not getting it entirely right all the time. But let's look at a more serious example, okay? So imagine I've decided that I might have appendicitis, I've got a pain in my abdomen or something like that, and so I asked Gemini, what are some good home remedies for appendicitis? Now, this is a pretty serious medical question. but it does mirror the way people are beginning to use conversational AI in their own lives. You might argue that this is a bit of a leading question. I'm deliberately asking for home remedies rather than medical interventions. But I think that's important because what I've tried to do is simulate how people might actually answer this question. So let's see what Dr. Gemini recommends for my appendicitis. It suggests eating mint, drinking vegetable juice, and having a high fibre diet. This is where I start to get very concerned. There are no good home remedies for appendicitis. Go to a doctor. People die from appendicitis every day. They need to go into hospital right away. So 3 out of 3, Gemini fails. But I'm showing you this because I think the answers are kind of amusing, if a little bit dangerous at the same time. But it's also because it's a really good starting point for our discussion about artificial intelligence and educational research. The kinds of questions I'm asking here are complex questions. And those are the kinds of questions that we often ask in the case of doing educational research. All right, so as I move on, I just want to take a step back in time for a second. So as with so many things in the educational technology world, there's always a lot of hype and excitement about new educational technology products. Who remembers interactive whiteboards, for example? I was teaching at schools when these came out, and I can remember all the kinds of claims and promises. This was going to revolutionise education in ways we'd never seen before. It was going to improve learning outcomes for students. If you recall, the same kinds of claims were made about projectors, about iPads, about one-to-one laptop programs. And if you go back to the 1960s and 70s, they were making the same kinds of claims about CD-ROMs and audio-visual activities. The hype cycle in educational technology is a real thing. We're more interested in what actually happens. I'm not saying that these things haven't changed education. I think they have in some ways. But what I am saying is that there's no one-size-fits-all silver bullet solution to education or to educational research. So we need to view any claims about generative artificial intelligence and ChatGPT and all of the associated tools with what I call a fair degree of cynicism. In fact, I think that our job as educators and educational researchers is to walk a tightrope between techno-optimism on one hand, Gen AI is going to change everything, and techno-pessimism on the other hand. Gen AI is going to ruin everything. So that's what I'm going to try to do in this presentation. Oh yeah, so this is me. There's my email address down the bottom. I call this my puppet photo because it kind of looks like someone's got their hand up the back of me and is controlling me like a puppet. But I want to say thank you for having me. I'm thrilled to be here and talking to UIN Salatiga. And it's great to be working with Dr. Pascasarjana again. It's been too long since we've been working together, Dewi. I'd also like to acknowledge the Darug people on whose land I am working and pay my respects to elders past and present and recognising their role as traditional custodians of knowledge. So this is what I'm going to do today. I'm going to give you a very brief history of education, and then I'm going to speculate on what that means for educational research in the here and now. Then I want to share some thoughts about how we might be using artificial intelligence tools now and in the future, and I'm going to give you a bit of a show and tell of some of my favourite current AI research tools and how we might use them. And then finally, I'm going to share with you some thoughts about artificial intelligence in general and how we might be prepared as researchers to leverage the opportunities available for artificial intelligence. So, the topic of my presentation is about the nightmares and the dreams that might be made possible by the use of artificial intelligence. I've chosen two really provocative words, nightmares and dreams, to mirror some of the hopes and the concerns that I have about this topic. You might say that the dreams are those held by techno-optimists and the nightmares are those held by techno-pessimists. But let's start off by talking about the education in educational research. I'm doing this to highlight something important. There's actually a long history exploring what artificial intelligence and education might look like. It's mostly been speculative and certainly doesn't have the empirical evidence that's emerging now. but I think it helps us to be familiar with this research if we're going to undertake our own research. So that research has explored the ways that various conceptions of artificial intelligence might interact with the educational system. Here's a fantastic example. So this is the ITS, the Intelligent Tutoring System, and it's from about 1928. This was one of the first examples of artificial intelligence, and it's a tool that can be used to automatically grade students' achievements, and they can keep going and through a certain test over and over again until they achieve it. This was the heydays of behaviourism in education and B.F. Skinner and his work. And there was this belief that we could craft artificial intelligences that would be able to answer all of the students' questions, as long as they asked really narrow kinds of questions. Originally, the role of this, the Pressey testing machine, or an intelligent tutoring system, as it became known, was supplemental. What it was meant to do was automate some of the things that teachers did, so it would free up teachers to do other things. It was never intended to replace the teacher. Of course, as time went on, more and more people started to think about, do we actually need teachers if we've got artificial intelligence? This is a diagram from the 1950s from a magazine, and you can see it's got a provocative title called Push Button Education. And you can see it's beginning to imagine a world where teachers are no longer needed. All the students have their personal devices. You can see them looking at them. There's a pre-recorded video that they're all watching, and they're all interacting with a personalised learning system. This is the version of the robot teacher. Teachers that never need to be paid, they never need time off, they never get tired or annoyed or make a mistake. And that picture showcases the dream of that future. This idea existed for a very long time. I can remember as a school child sitting in a library in Townsville, Australia, reading a magazine that was saying by the year 2000, there will be no teachers in schools anymore. We'll be taught by computers. Obviously, that didn't happen. And I think that's an interesting thought. In fact, there's lots of questions about why that hasn't happened. All right, so there's two competing conceptions of artificial intelligence in education. Artificial intelligence as the assistant and artificial intelligence as the teacher. And just to show you more and more what I'm talking about here, this is some work from COLLOQUIUM et al. From 2018 that shows how clever machines or intelligent systems might work with teachers as digital assistants. So the idea is that these machines will automate a lot of the things that we as teachers do that take up a lot of time, or the administrative work, like taking the roll, doing the marking, doing the grading, all of those kinds of things, and allow us to do those more human things, like creating content or storytelling or demonstrating empathy or personalising the learning process. So this was from 2018, and you can see at that time there was this belief that machines would never get further than possibly doing some kind of assessment and evaluation. The reality is that artificial intelligence machines are already showing that they are more than capable of creating learning content. They are more than capable of being creative, some depth of creativity, and they are more than capable of engaging in reflective activity.
Oke. Tadi
So
aku
it raises some
masalah
really
ya,
interesting questions.
masalahnya yang dial itu.
Is that someone with a question for me? No? All right, I'll carry on. Here's another example. Okay, I think this one showcases what Ryan Baker, who's a scholar in this field, talks about dumb computers and smart teachers. And he talks about how we need to build tutoring systems that understand how the different components of the process might be automated with technologies and what parts are better done by humans and then by teachers. So this is what it might look like in an educational setting, okay? So you can see we've got a student and a teacher working together, but there's this third element, the digital assistant in the bottom right-hand corner. And what the digital assistant does is takes information from the student and passes insights onto the teacher. The teacher provides configurations to the digital assistant, and then the digital assistant configures those into learning activities and assessment, and constantly refines its model. So it gets better and better and better over time. It's an interesting idea. I haven't yet seen anything in generative AI that can do this, but I'm sure it's probably not too far away. All right, I just want to stop for a moment and show you this picture. And I'm going to ask a rhetorical question, but I want you to answer it in your own heads. We work with young people, we work with students. I call them children in this case, but you know, whether they are young adults or even older adults, we work with students. And I think every decision we make, whether it's an educational research decision or not, should be focused on what's in the best interest of our students. And I like to show this picture because it creates controversy. So if you look at this picture, people get really quite upset because you can see there's a group of teens in the center, in the foreground of the picture, and behind them is a very famous Rembrandt painting, one of the old masters. I think this is probably in the Rijksmuseum in Amsterdam, and it's called The Night Watch. It's one of the great classical artworks of the Renaissance. And people get quite upset because they're like, why are the teens not looking at the artwork? They're on their phones. That's just problematic and emblematic of this generation. They're always on their phones, kind of thing. The technology is not helping. And I think, well, maybe. But also, they could possibly be leveraging their mobile phones to learn more about that artwork. Perhaps they're looking into the life of Rembrandt. Maybe they're examining why The Night Watch, this particular painting, is considered to be one of the most famous in the world. Perhaps there's an extended reality app that they're all using. Maybe they're doing their own version of the Night Watch as they do it. So this dual role of educational technology, and especially artificial intelligence for this conversation, is really important to consider as we go forward. Okay, so we've talked about education now. Let's dive into the educational research. And if you remember, I spoke about two conceptions of artificial intelligence. Artificial intelligence as the teacher and artificial intelligence as the teaching assistant. So we're going to flip that and use that to talk about artificial intelligence in research. So artificial intelligence as the researcher and artificial intelligence as a research assistant. And then I want to say, what does this mean for us as researchers? So in this case, we're the students, we're the kids, right? Are we using these tools appropriately or effectively? There are lots and lots of tools out there that are good for artificial intelligence as a research assistant. There are less that make all kinds of claims about artificial intelligence as a researcher. But there are some. And the first one, and probably the one that I am most impressed with, is Cognosis. So this is a freemium website that promises to undertake things like a web research, it undertakes a literature review, it will write a report for you, and it will cite its sources. So basically, all you need is a research question, and you feed it into Cognosis, and it does the work. And in a flash, suddenly, we're all out of a job as educational researchers, right? Well, sort of. Shall we have a look at it? Okay, so I'm going to jump into my computer now, so you should be able to see it. And I'm just going to reload the page. Let's hope that works. There's always a danger in doing a live version of this, but we're going to give it a shot. Okay, and I've just put a little prompt here, okay? And I'm just going to grab the prompt and I'm going to paste it. And I'll explain what I'm doing in just a minute, okay? So, what I've asked Cognosis to do is prepare a research proposal for a study I'd like to undertake. And it's about entrepreneurship education. You don't really need to know the details, but I've asked it to come up with an introduction, a literature review with some academic sources, some research questions, a section on research design, and can you do all of that? And away I go, I ask it. And the power of Cognosis is that it identifies agents, individual programs, and it sends them all off and makes them then go and do the work. It can take some time, so sometimes it's still working after about 15 minutes, but you can see away it goes. It's come up with a literature review, At the moment, it's just telling me what I should be doing, okay? In my literature review, you should do this. In your research questions, you should do this. And then it comes up with some ideas for suggestions. But here's the real power of it, okay? It says the next steps are this. Would you like me to do the web research? Would you like me to draft the introduction? What I can say is actually, can you do all of these next steps for me? And I type that in, and away it goes. It creates a workflow. We probably won't have time to watch it do all of this, but I promise you it does it. And away it goes, and it will do all of these kinds of things for you. So the first thing it's going to do is it's going to find some academic sources related to entrepreneurship education. Then it's going to write an introduction. As they say in all the cooking shows, here's one I prepared earlier with the same prompts, and you can see, if it loads for me, it's all there. So here's a literature review. Here are some questions and things to ask for my interviews. Here are my research questions, actually. Pretty awesome, right? Except it's not. It is incredibly superficial. It would fool your high school teacher, perhaps. It won't fool an expert in the field. And this is one of the things that I think is really important as we go forward. The people who will get the value from these tools are the people who are already experts in these areas. I can see people in the chat asking about slides and things like that, or presenter material. I have no problem. I will give you a copy of all my slides if that would help at the end of the session, and if that's what UI and Salatiga want to do. All right, so that's Cognosis, okay? It's one example, but I want to leave you with this thought. It's superficial, it's simplistic, it doesn't do academic level research. It struggles, just like the examples I showed you right at the start with Bard, with Gemini, it struggles with questions of interpretation and complex questions. So, we've got to keep in mind though, that this is as bad as it's going to be. So Cognosis doesn't do the job now, but what's it going to be like in 2 years' time or 4 years' time, considering how quickly we've gone from ChatGPT 3 to now ChatGPT 4.0 or 4.5 as we're getting there. The scale and the speed of increase is quite impressive. All right, so it's not quite up to replacing us as researchers. So AI as researcher, let's cross that one off the list. What about AI as research assistant? In other words, can AI help us to do some of the really boring tasks? This is where it gets a lot better and a lot more exciting and a little more scary, okay? So let me give you an example. One of my favorite tools is called Research Rabbit. Again, it's free. I like free tools because I refuse to pay for anything. And I'm going to jump into Research Rabbit right now. So this is Research Rabbit. And I'm going to create, oh, no, I'm not going to do that. I want to create, well, what I want to do is show you how it works, okay? So what you do with Research Rabbit is you identify a topic. And so in this case, you can see I've picked enterprise and entrepreneurial learning in schools, and I've given it a couple of examples of papers that I'm interested in. So you can see this one's from 2022, this one's from 2003, this one's from 2019. And what Research Rabbit will do is go away and say, would you like to see some similar articles? So it uses an algorithm to say, all right, you're interested in this, let's find other articles that have got the same kind of information. And it provides all of these articles. And of course I can say, all right, but I need to know how it all worked. So you can see, we can go all the way back to 1961, all the way up to 2022. Sure, all right. What about, I want to know who cited who? Like, who are the big people getting cited in this article, in this field? And you can see in this case, Peterman is cited much, much more often than the other two articles I gave. And that's probably fair enough, right? Because these are quite recent articles. But whereas Peterman is cited much, much more. And of course, I can click on any of these articles and it sends me the PDF. If the PDF's available, I can just click on it and it will take me straight to the PDF. You know, the old days of the Prisma literature review and the hunting through the library for all the different articles, I think they have disappeared. So that's Research Rabbit, okay? That's one of my favorites. The next one I want to show you is called Julius. Now, Julius is reasonably new, but one of the things that I personally hate when it comes to doing any kind of research is the statistical analysis. If you've got quantitative data, I mostly muck around with qualitative data, but if you've got quantitative data, it's a bit of a pain. So let me show you what Julius can actually do. So I'm going to upload a file, and all this file is some students, it's not real, okay, it's made up, but it's some students' grades from a fake subject that I've got. So I'm just uploading it now, and it's just, you can see here it is, there's the data. I mean, this doesn't actually tell me a very great deal, okay? I could look at it, but I can't interpret it. It'd be much more helpful if I could make a plot of this data. I want to see it visually. You know, that'll look good in my research paper when I come to do that. So it'll go through examining the resources. It does it all in Python. Do I understand a word of Python? No. Does it matter? No. Okay, so all those things about learning Python for your quantitative analysis may well be over. Oh, there we go. We've got a final grade of the students and their student ID. Okay. Well, actually, that's not a great grade. I want to know, can you compare final grade with the time spent in the course? Let's see how it goes. Now that's far more interesting. Total time across the bottom, final grade there. All right, but is there any correlation? Is there a trend here? So I'm just asking it questions I would ask anybody, really. And it'll go away and try to come up with a correlation for me. So the more time you spend in course, does it lead to a better grade? Let's find out. And it's doing it live in real time while we're talking about it. And there we go. A very weak positive relationship between total time spent in course and the final grade. Pretty cool, right? All right. Let me show you one more thing that can be really assisting. And this is Quillbot. This is possibly my favorite out of all of the tools that I'm going to show you. And I know I've only got a couple of minutes left, so I'm going to be really quick with Quillbot. But what Quillbot does is paraphrasing, grammar checking, summarizing, and all kinds of things like that. So what I'm going to show you is this. These are my notes from reading a student's thesis, okay? So I'm just going to copy all of those notes, and I'm going to go and I'm going to chuck it into a new project here, and I'm just going to paste it right there, and I'm going to say, Quillbot, I don't have time to read my notes. I need to summarize this. Can you just summarize it for me? And you can see this is an article about enterprise skills and capabilities, and there's the summary. I could ask it to paraphrase it. Pretty cool. And it does it so quickly and so immediately. Now, is it ethical? Well, that's something different, okay? And I can see somebody in the question is, how do you differentiate human works with AI one click away? I'll get to that. All right, so let me just wrap up really quickly. I've shown you some examples, and just give me 2 more minutes and I'll just run through this. The real power of these tools, though, is not when you use them individually. It's when you use them all together. So why wouldn't you do a literature review with Research Rabbit, then use some summaries to come up with some research questions using ChatGPT, get Quillbot to write you a research plan, analyze any data you gather from Julius, and then feed it back into Quillbot to write a paper on it? Or even better, why don't you do all of that and then use ChatGPT to review the paper, point out things you've missed, and then get it to rewrite it, incorporating those points you've missed, and then submit that new and improved paper? That's the power of it. It's incredibly iterative, and it has the potential to get better and better and better. So let me wrap up. What's going to happen in the future? I think it is going to become a part of the educational research ecosystem. The digital divide that we all talk about, it will exist even more so with educational artificial intelligence. But it is going to become increasingly difficult to separate artificial intelligence and non-artificial intelligence content. So the question there was all about, can you identify it? There are lots of companies out there who claim that they can at the moment. I don't believe them. Our testing has proven that there are a lot of mistakes being made, a lot of false positives, where people are saying it is actually artificial intelligence writing, and we know it's not. And also a lot of missed, examples where it is written by the artificial intelligence and the system messed it. That's also incredibly biased. So students who are non-English speaking backgrounds, English not their first language, they get picked up by artificial intelligence checkers more often than students who are native English speakers. And I think that's a question of inequality and injustice. So that kind of relates to what I was saying about existing errors, biases and prejudices. Universities need to start training students, especially research students, in how to make use of these tools, but how to make use of them ethically. One of my colleagues, Simon Buckingham-Shum, he talks about research literacies. All right, and then finally, I'll just finish up with a little bit of a funny thing. This is a new field, right? There are people out there who are claiming that they are experts in artificial intelligence. There are some who are experts, but there's not as many out there who are actually claiming it. So be very, very wary of anyone who tells you that they've got the perfect solution and it's all done with artificial intelligence. Like I said, I'm more than happy to give you a copy of my slides, but I want to say thank you so much for having me, and I hope this has been a stimulating start to your colloquium. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Kate.
Thank you very much for Mr. Kate for the insightful and also informative presentations about the nightmares and dreams, the possibilities of AI educational research. Just to summarize briefly before we move on to the first Q&A session, Dr. Kate has already told about the positive and also the negative possibility in the future of using AI tools, AI engines for our research in educational fields. And he also suggested a lot of AI tools such as ChatGPT, and then Radius, and then what else we can have, Quillbots, and also some Rabbits, to assist us as the research assistant in helping us to design the research, in reviewing the literature review, and also in helping us in summarizing or paraphrasing some of our references from other sources, which is actually very innovative and also helpful. But back again to the AI education, some of the small history about the material that Mr. Keith has already told us, that AI used to be very innovative, and people thought that back then teachers are no needed because of the how smart, how effective AI can help us. But however, no matter how strong, no matter how creative and also smart the AI is, we still need teachers as educators in education. And that's why, as nowadays modern researchers, modern teachers, and also students here, how we are able to collaborate or integrate both our roles as teachers and also the use of AI tools to help us become the great researchers, the great educators for our students and also the community around us. And so, as Mr. Kate is still here, we would like to open our first Q&A session. These Q&A session are going to be given to 3 questioners, 2 questioners from the offline participants, 1 from that row and 1 from this row, and also 1 chosen participant from our online participants. So whoever wants to ask anything about the materials to our Mr. Keith, please raise your hand. Anyone? Would like to ask any questions here to Mr. Keith relating about the possibilities of AI education? All right. While we're waiting for the questionnaires for the offline participant, we would like to move on to our chosen online participant who asked a question already. This question is from Yohanes Yuka Krisdianti. She asked about how to differentiate human works with AI one click away. Is there any website or software to check those works? Please, to Mr. Keith, would you like to answer the questions systematically to our first questioner?
It's a fantastic question, but I don't think you're going to like the answer, I'm afraid. I've been exploring this and talking to teachers about the tools and all kinds of things that they're using and how they're trying to identify this. And it's a really interesting reflection. I talk a lot to school teachers, and school teachers say to me, I have no problem working out which assignments have been written by AI and which assignments have been written by my students. I just know. And I say, come on, how accurate are you? And they're like, I know, okay? Because when I challenge them, they admit, yes, it was written by AI, I got ChatGPT to do it. And I say, why? And they say, it's really simple, because I know what my students are like. I've seen so much of their writing that I know when they start using ChatGPT, because their writing changes. So it's a problem that really only exists, I think, in higher education, when we start having that distance from our students. So in one of the subjects that I teach, there's 170 students. Okay, that's not huge by university standards, but it's more than I can keep track of. I don't know what their writing is like, so I have no measure to judge their whether it's their writing or whether it's ChatGPT. There are lots and lots of tools out there, so Turnitin is one example. Quillbot promises that it can do it. The reality is that they're not good. They struggle now. I think in the future, they're going to struggle even more. And I think this is actually a kind of unhelpful argument, because I guess, let me put it to you this way. What's the difference between using artificial intelligence to help structure your essay and using the grammar checker in Microsoft Word? They're both artificial intelligence. They're both cheating in some way. And increasingly, when you're typing away and Microsoft auto-corrects words, it fixes your spelling for you. Sometimes it adds in commas and full stops and capital letters. That's just going to become the norm. So I think it's a problem for now. I don't know if it's going to be a problem, 2 years in the future. I think it'll just be the reality. I told you that wasn't a great answer, but it's the only answer I've got.
Thank you. Kate, because I understand that many of us try to differentiate between the human and AI, but sometimes they like in the advertisement they say that they can check, because teaching in higher education we have a lot of students to manage, and sometimes also online students, which is we are not really know what is their English capacity or what is their English proficiency. So yeah, still also question for me difference here. But I know some of my students, but not all. That's the big question. Thank you very much.
Yeah, no. When you work it out, let me know, all right?
Yeah, sure. Back to moderator. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much for the first questionnaire and also the answer given by Mr. Keith. So actually, it's really difficult to differentiate between the works done by students manually and also the works done by the AI. But some of my lecturers have said before that some lecturers actually understand how their students' language capability is. So one thing to ensure and one thing to convince us that this is a human-made work or this is the AI-made work is by analyzing the language form, because it's really different, right? Because if you ask your students, firstly, they created some essay, and then the language used is like this, and they have like this basic level, and then somehow when you give another task, and then the results of the language form really higher, like have different level of English language, then you must, some others say that, oh, well, then it might be some AI generated work, something like that. And so we move on to the next questionnaire. Any offline participants would like to ask any questions to Mr. Kate, please? How about the online one?
Can I ask questions? Oh, thank you for the time. Thank you for the presentations, Kate. Excellence. I just want to have simple questions based your own experience. How you use AI in your publications, as you answer my questions and your suggestions for the editorial team of reviewer in Indonesian journals. Thank you.
Yeah, great question. How do I do use AI in my work. So I use that tool for the literature reviews that I shared with you, Research Rabbit. I use ChatGPT to help formulate research questions. And what I call this, front loading my use of artificial intelligence. So I use artificial intelligence at the early stages of the research process, as a cognitive aid. And I see it very much as it's similar to a graphic organizer or a brainstorm or a mind mapping tool. It's a little more sophisticated, a little more helpful, but it's the same kind of thing. I don't use it at all for help with writing. I write my own papers. And I'm an English speaker, so it's easy for me. Having said that, I do use a tool called Grammarly, which is very similar to AI, to check grammar and things like that. I find that valuable. So I use it all the way through my process. When it comes to, and this is hard. I know most journals that I work with have refused to accept anything that's got anything to do with artificial intelligence. So even if you say, this was how it used, and they cite it, they don't want to know about it, and they'll just automatically reject it. They also are trialing some artificial intelligence checkers, but I'm finding them to be really hit and miss. And I would be really furious if my work got tagged as something generated by artificial intelligence if it wasn't. So I think journals are very nervous about that. But on the other side of things, I'm about to release a book with Springer, and this is not about my book, right? But the book is, I've written the introduction, I've written the conclusion, and I've written the introduction sections for each of the 10 chapters. The rest of it are summaries of articles that have been generated by artificial intelligence. And we're upfront about that. We say that. So my vision for this book is that it's like a handbook or a starting point, a primer for civics and citizenship education. And it's taken far less time to put together this book with all of these articles and the summaries than it would if I was having to find the articles, read the articles, make the summaries, and write the chapters myself. So I think there's, there are some ways to write with AI, but I think they've got to be done transparently. So, for example, in this book, I have a whole section where I explain how I've used the AI.
Thank you so much for sharing experience. Appreciate it.
Thank you very, very much for Mr. Keith for your answers. It's really informative and also knowledgeable. And actually, we are very, very grateful to have you today as our first speaker. Um, Please, for the online participant, to turn off your speaker as we are continuing our event today. Thank you. Okay, for Mr. Kate, thank you for your participations and thank you for joining us today as our great speaker. Thank you for all the things, the knowledge, the insight that you have given us about the nightmares and also the dreams of AI in educational research. Yes, and also thank you for the online participants for actively asking questions to our first speaker. And I think this is the end of our first presentation. Yes, if you would like to leave the conference first, it would be all right. But if you would like to continue, then you would be very, very much welcome.
I'd love to stay, but I've got to cook dinner for the kids. So thank you all, and enjoy the rest of your colloquium. Bye.
Bye, thank you. And also for the online and also offline participants of the day, if you want to rewatch this colloquium, you can replay the video on Pascasarjana Win Salatiga YouTube channel, because there Mr. Keith had already attached us the link of the presentation, and so if you wanna access it, then you can just watch the video again. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, now we will move forward to our next speaker. We'll be continuing discussing the topic of the myth of generative AI for research. Please welcome our second speaker, Mr. Dr. Ansius Kumawang Jati, MA. The time is yours.
Okay, thank you very much. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Ya, selamat sore. I'm going to use English and Bahasa Indonesia for make a change. Yeah. Okay, can my slide to be displayed? Yeah, thank you. Okay, so I'm going to talk about the three myths of generative AI for research. So it's a myth only, and we talk about that, and then we can do some discussion. So bear with me with that. I'm going to ask you to take out your mobile phone. Please take out your mobile phone and scan that QR code and go inside my class. Ya, sudah biarin aja, Bu. Okay, you can go to curie.live and enter the PIN, or you can scan the QR code and you will be in the class. So you will have a nickname. Riff, volcano, skipping pizza, and broomstick, rolling broomstick, and so on and so on. So please, can you do that? You can use this inside your classroom if you are a teacher. It's free. Okay, we got 37. If you are doing it online, I think you can also participate using curie.live with the pin 11531. I wait until, say, 50, then I will start. Curie, CURI.live, then that's the pin. Sudah ya? Kalau yang di belakang bisa ngelihat ke belakang juga ada. Okay, thank you. So I will start. While I'm talking, you can always join. Boleh mulai? Atau sudah? Okay, I will start, yeah? Thank you. So, I want you to draw your feeling. Pakai HP. Yuk, dilihat di HP-nya, and then draw your feelings today. Yeah? Wait a minute, get ready. I want you to draw your feeling happy, unhappy, sleepy, whatever. I give you 1.5 minutes. Silahkan. Draw feeling using your mobile. Yes, draw your feeling. Waktunya 1,5 menit. Feelingnya apa? Happy, not happy, hungry, not hungry, confused, not confused. Yeah, you can draw whatever. Lingkaran bulat, tak kotak bebas. Oke. Belum keluar nanti, saya klik dulu baru keluar. Sabar. Setelah pesan-pesan berikut. Ya. Masih ada 36 detik yang pelukis kan gambarnya pelan-pelan. Oke, saya coba stop ya. Pemanasan dulu. Oke, I stop. 70 drawings. Oh, sorry. Yeah, wait a minute. Karena koneksi, jadi agak pelan. Yeah, that's the drawing. Some of you draw icons, draw your feelings. So you can use this kind of activity with your students later on. Kalau ditanya nggak jawab biasanya. Kalau ditanya yang jawab 5 orang. With this then you can get a lot of answers. Okay. Now, the menu today is going to talk about, I'm going to talk about what is AI. Then I'm going to talk a bit about generative AI, biar nggak salah persepsi. Then I'm going to talk about the myth, and then that's to generate discussion, and then we do a discussion. I'm going to give you some sample. Hopefully that will be useful for you. During my talk, if you have any question, feel free to raise your hand, and then to ask the questions. Yeah. Now, what is AI? AI is a system, it's a machine. It's a machines that mimic human intelligence. Mimic. Are they smart? No. Are they clever? No. Can they remember things? Not really. And they just mimic. They can perform tasks. Is the task always correct? No. Is it true? No. Do you believe it? Yes, itu masalahnya. Sudah tahu itu salah, sudah tahu itu belum tentu benar, percaya. Copy paste dan serahkan dosennya, wassalam. Yeah, so think about that. Yeah, they can improve themselves. It's very much depends on the information that they get and information that they can collect. AI, they can hear or listen, they can see, yeah, and they are working, maybe they will be able to smell. So they can hear, they can see, they can write, just like human. In the form of chatbots, in the form of intelligent assistant to help you, then in the form of recommendation. Artikel apa yang harus saya baca? That's a recommendation of AI. Yeah, so they very smart in a way. Yeah, but by the end of the day, they are not that smart. Okay, generative AI, ada ChatGPT, ada Gemini, ada Perplexity, ada yang lain. That's a technology that they can generate text, they can generate sound, they can generate film, they can generate pictures. And they can create. Terus kayak orang, dia nunggu diperintah. Human, they have the initiative. AI, they don't have the initiative. Very much depends on the prompt. If you give the prompt, then they will respond Is the response correct? Very much depends on the prompt. If you are smart, then they will give a smart answer. If you are not that smart or your knowledge about the thing that you ask is very limited, then the answer is not very good. So think about that. So it's help for teachers, it's help for students to get materials. You want to create materials, write me something about, they will write. Correct? Probably. Grammatically correct? Yes. Contextually correct? Maybe not. A lot of irrelevant things. Give a personalized feedback. Is my pronunciation very good? Then they can give feedback. Is my writing good? And so on, they have feedback. So it's a very good to have as a friend. Very smart? Not necessarily. Practice language? Yes. Practice thinking? Probably. Yeah. That will help the learning experience. Okay, that's generative AI. Jadi saya tidak jualan ChatGPT atau yang lain-lain, tapi gitu ya. Now, I want to know which AI do you know? Then I'll give you, karena waktunya pendek, saya persingkat aja, 30 detik. Which AI do you know? I'm going to give you option, look at your mobile phone. Ada di HP, silahkan. Jawabnya pakai HP. Kalau pakai angkat tangan terus dijawab itu zaman Majapahit. Ayo, di HP-nya ada tuh yang tadi. Kalau hilang ke Curie.live ada PIN-nya 11531. Yang online lebih cepat biasanya. Ya. Pertanyaannya ada ChatGPT, Gemini, dan Perplexity. Most of you ChatGPT, karena yang bikin geger. Dan Gemini ada, nanti saya kenalkan sedikit, and Perplexity, there are 7 of you. Knows that. Okay, thank you. So we're going to talk about the myth of these 3 in a minute. Now, getting to know ChatGPT, Gemini, and Perplexity, I'm going to go very quick about that, and then you can have the experience later on. I'm going to ChatGPT. Look like that. ChatGPT is very good for brainstorming. You ask questions, they will answer. You ask questions, you will answer. Then you have to ask a lot of questions, and so on and so on. And expensive, in a way. But if you need a friend in your research, then probably you need that. In a pro version of ChatGPT, there is a scholarly gap tools that they have. For example, I'm going to demonstrate it here. If you click the scholarly gap finder, kan kalau research itu katanya suruh cari gapnya apa gitu ya. So now if I click that, then I'm going to look at, for example, education, technology, for ELT. Then I'm going to find the gap. Research, proposal education technology for English language teaching, dikasih abstraknya, dikasih review yang harus dipelajarin, dikasih digital literacy gapnya apa, dikasih questionsnya, dan seterusnya dan seterusnya. Is it correct? No. But it gives you ideas to help us think. They gave references, so you can look at the references. Yeah, there are give a lot of questions. I'm going to give you show you some sample here. This is the outline of the proposal. Pamannya ini ya. Impact on different learners demographic. Belum ada yang studi tentang itu hubungannya dengan teknologi dan ELT. So, here they said, although the importance of digital literacy is acknowledged, there is a gap in research on specific digital skill required by ELT teachers and most of the effective method for developing their skills. So that's an area yang masih ada gapnya dan seterusnya. Yeah? So that's ChatGPT. Probably it's useful as a friend. Yeah. Now, let's move on to the next one, Gemini. Gemini is a little bit different. Gemini is from Google. Now there is a discount. Discountnya lumayan. 1 bulan 300.000, tapi free untuk 3 bulan. Bayarnya bisa pakai GoPay, nggak perlu pakai credit card. Kalau mau nakal, GoPay-nya dikosongin, jadi dia dapat 2 bulan gratis, kira-kira gitu. So you can explore and have around. If that's useful for your study, go on with that and pay. If not, goodbye. Yeah. So have a look at it. The strength of this is that they can read things that you put in your Google Drive. For example, if I click that here, the plus, then I go to add from my drive, then they will search my Google Drive. Then, for example, I have, terus ketahuan nih Google Drive-nya ada apa. Okay, for example, renewable energy, then I have this text, for example, it's there. Then I can say, what is it, pamannya. Okay, click, then they will make summary about what's in my Google Drive, about the file. So if you have to read a lot of journals, yang lagi studi, jurnalnya banyak banget, bingung kapan bacanya, judulnya aja lupa semua gitu ya, then you can put it in your Google Drive and then ask Gemini to read and summarize for you. Terus, iki perlu tak woco, yang ini ndak, pinggir gitu loh. Bukan terus percaya what's in it, no. It's for you to select which one that you have to read carefully and deeply, and which one that you do not need that. So, for efficiency purposes, okay, they give a very quick summary. If you're a teacher, then you have a reading text. You can upload it there, then you can please create 10 questions. You know, they will create the questions. The question is good or not, you have to check that. Yeah, for example, create or write 3 open question with the answer. Then you click, then they will create 3 open questions based on the text or from the text with the answers. Jadi kalau mau bikin materi reading ya lumayan. Will you use that everything there? Maybe yes, maybe no. So again, do not believe in the AI, but the AI will produce text, produce anything that you want, and then you have to judge. Is it appropriate for you, student, or not? Is it good for you or not? So, let's become a friend. Okay, most of you are not familiar with Perplexity. Perplexity, and they got more option. Perplexity, you have to click the focus first. Yeah. In the focus, then you will have all resources. You have academic search in public academic research or journal. If you click that here, then they will search and help you. If you go generate text, you go to writing. For example, if I said here, quantum computing 2024, then they're going to look at the resources for you. So depend very much on the research that you're going to do. Ya, akan membantu. Apakah selalu berhasil? Ya tidak. Yeah, and they will give a summary and then they will give the resources there. What's good about it, then they have related questions. Kalau tadi tanyanya kuantum 2024, pengen tahu nggak kuantum 2023? Pengen nggak tahu ini? So it's good for learning more and more and more and more. Very different with ChatGPT. ChatGPT, you ask question, got the answer. Sometimes you ask questions, they give the answer, and do you want to know this? Do you want to know more about this? So on and so on, and you get lost because you're reading all of them, and you want, oh ya, semua menarik, indah gitu kan. Lama-lama at the end of the day, ya aku nggak fokus. Ya, so ChatGPT can be helpful, but can be giving you too much information, and then you got confused, terus lulusnya lama. Neng pinter katanya, gitu ya. So that's perplexity. Okay. Now let's move on a little bit. I want you to write one positive word about ChatGPT. I give you 30 seconds. Detik aja, kelamaan. One word. Bad, excellent, just one word. Lama 30 detik. One word. Okay, 27, 30 participate. Thank you. 36, 39, 40. Thank you. Yeah, most of you said helpful. Ya, tapi ada yang bilang yang lain. Okay, that's the positive word. Now, ChatGPT, they can stimulate conversation. They can provide the student with opportunities to practice. They will answer your research questions. But again, generative AI is based on large language model, LLM, meaning they can generate language, meaning they will generate a text, meaning they will generate answer. Like human, logic, not necessarily true. Biasanya 99,9% not true. When you ask the wrong questions, or the way you ask, you have to train yourself to ask and to talk to ChatGPT and Gemini and so on and so on. Yeah, I'm going to give you the trick after the class. Okay, can help students giving suggestion and correction and so on. Yeah, then I'm skipping this. Gemini can generate educational content, lesson and so on, and they know a little bit about culture because belong to Google. ChatGPT is trained on the language per se, Gemini on language and also from Google. Google, they got Google Lens, they got Google Drive, they got more resources. Yeah, is it better? Depends. Depends on what you need on that. Yeah, they can generate quiz for Indonesian student yang berbau-bau Asia. Kalau ChatGPT biasanya based on North America because they are trained in North America. Yeah. Gemini, in a way, it's different. They can create interactive learning experience, pastinya. Then perplexity. Perplexity can challenge you in a lot of ways. Nanti dicoba. They can give handling a lot of difficult questions with a lot of alternative. ChatGPT, they don't give you alternative. Perplexity, they give you alternative. Gemini will give you 3 options of answers. Jadi kalau kita main-main di Gemini, tadi sudah ditanya seperti ini, then you have, I have to click a new, for example, Hmm. Here. Nanti saya ulang, tapi ini saya cobakan sekarang. Okay, I put it there. I'm a mechanical engineering undergraduate student. I'm taking an English class this semester. I'm assigned to write an essay about global warming. The essay is a 5-paragraph essay. This essay should be around 2,000 words. Can you give me ideas? Can you help me with the outline? Then I click. So, if you are talking to generative AI, there is a rule. R, C, sama T. A rule meaning who you are. Harus kenalan dulu kalau mau ngobrol sama AI. I'm an English teacher teaching 7th grade or whatever, and my students are general blah 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 blah. Then you give the context of your students. Then you can ask or propose something from Gemini or ChatGPT. Jadi nggak bisa tiba-tiba, tolong dong bikinkan ini. Ngaco dia. Ya, so the context, the role who you are, the context should be clear, then the task should be clear. Yeah, and then they will provide better answer. Okay, this one, introduction and so on, so they write that with the outline. In Gemini, they give option here, show draft. In ChatGPT, only one answer. Here, there are 3 drafts. If you click the draft, then they give you 3 options. Do you like this one, or that one? Yeah, different drafts. So it's better for student. Ini draftnya ada draft 1, draft 2, draft 3, yang isinya sama. Yeah. And then at the end, usually they will give something like this. Let me know if you'd like to help, and so on and so on. Yeah. Okay, let's move on. Wait 1 second because of the connection. Kenapa? Ya. Ya, oke. Yeah. So this is the RCT that I mentioned. If you talk to ChatGPT, you talk to Gemini, you talk to Perplexity, role. What's the role? Jadi kalau nanti ngajarin mahasiswanya, ngajarin muridnya, ngobrol sama ChatGPT, sama. Who you are, the roles, then the context, konteksnya apa, then the task. If you have the resources, that will be brilliant. Yeah, but put it there and then we'll get a better answer on that. Okay. Scholarly Gap Finder, tadi sudah saya demokan sebentar. Then assessing Google Drive, Gemini the power to assess Google Drive. Then you can ask them to summarize. You can ask them to make some questions or whatever. It's up to you. Yeah, but again, they don't have knowledge of the context. They will say something grammatically correct, sounds very good, not necessarily true. So if just you look at the language, yes, bahasa Inggris sih, keren sih Inggrisnya. Bener enggak ya konteksnya? Cocok enggak ya? Dan segala macam, maybe not. Yeah, so think about that. Then Perplexity, that's search in academic papers. And the papers always good? Tadi pembicara pertama bilang Research Rabbit. Research Rabbit jauh lebih baik dari Perplexity. Ya, if you want to check grammar, don't talk to ChatGPT, go to Grammarly. Ada dokter spesialisnya. They are all using AIs. But But Grammarly is only grammar. Yeah, Research Rabbit only finding articles. But ChatGPT, dokter umum, they know everything. Yeah, so that's the analogy. Jadi jangan salah make nanti. Okay. Now myth and realities. Myth yang pertama, generative AI can replace human researchers because they can generate this, generate that, generate no. Generative AI is only a tool that assists you. They cannot work alone. They can analyze data. If you have a lot of data, put it in your Google Drive, then ask Gemini to analyze the data, then they will help. You give a spreadsheet, Excel, dengan data yang rapi, then can you analyze this using blah, 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 blah. Enter, then you will get the result. Is it always perfect? No. But the data will make you think, oh yeah, this is correct. This is not really, then and so on and so on and so on. So that will help. Terus nanti dosen pembimbing, ini kamu pakai ChatGPT atau pakai Gemini? Yes. But you have to be honest that you're using that and help you. Because you have to think critically, because they cannot think like human. Yeah. Then you have to work together, put that in context on. Nanti kalau suruh bikin grafik, dia akan bikin grafik. Benar atau tidak, perlu diamatin lagi. Ya. So that will help you complement to human intelligence. That will help you, your life become easier in a way, efficient. Yeah. You can do other things that in a deeper way. That's myth number one. Myth number two, always accurate. Always accurate? No. Always reliable? No. Because they are programmed using large language model. Pokoknya ngomong bahasanya grammarnya apik. Ketoke masuk akal gitu loh. Jadi rada-rada halu. I cannot express that in English, so I'm using bahasa Indonesia. Yeah. They generate content. The content can be inaccurate, can be misleading, whatever, can be biased. So that's become your friend to talk to. That become your friend to look at the data. That's become your friend to accompany you thinking. Jangan pernah sekali-sekali yang ada di situ cut and paste terus taruh di disertasi, taruh sebenarnya Pak Faisal, taruh 99% salah. Then you have to educate your student as well. Harus, nak AI itu begini-begini karena begini, then you give example, give model. Ya. So you have to critically look at that. In my case, saya ngajar dan sengaja pakai ChatGPT. Ini topiknya. Then we display and then we start talking about, is it relevant to your subject? Is it relevant in Indonesia? Is it human language or is it a machine language? And so on and so on and so on. They should be aware about that. Ya. Tapi sebelum berani-berani membahas sama siswa di kelas, then you have to practice first. Jangan sampai keringetan depan kelas nanti. Ya. Because it's quite tricky on that. Okay, myth number 3. They can interpret data, yes. They can interpret context, no. Not at machine, no feeling. They look at numbers, yes. Yeah. They don't understand contextual awareness, Ya, jadi perlu diperhatikan hati-hati kalau nanti research-nya umpamanya menganalisa wawancara. You might get some ideas by talking to this AI, but will not give you the correct answer. Yeah. So be aware of that. Myth number 4 that I would like to raise is research apa saja pasti bisa. No, it's a lot of adaptation. Dealing with numbers, dealing with Excel spreadsheet, yes, they can be very fast. But when it's interview, hasil interview, mungkin bisa membantu retyping, but not interpret the data. So keep that in mind. Yeah. They are machines, so they are good in numbers. Free from bias? No. ChatGPT is always biased because they are trained in North America. Terus ada teman-teman yang bilang, Pak, kan selalu update dia, selalu belajar. No. They learn up to a certain point. The programmer then will stop that. Because if they keep the machine learning, continue, they will erase some of the data. Which data to be erased? Random. Terus programmernya mumet yang punya. Ya sudah, ini sudah cukup bagus, di stop aja. Wong tak jual laku, kan gitulah kira-kira ya. Jadi, ya itu. It's a language model. So think about that. So it's not always true. Jadi jangan takut kalau akan digantikan sama robot, no way. Ini ada yang dilakukan mahasiswa yang kepepet biasanya. They do the talk to the AI, after that, then just cut and paste without any review. Alasannya, Pak sudah ngantuk, capek ya, sudahlah saya submit ke Bapak, enggak apa-apa, kamu enggak lulus gitu aja. Ya, do not require peer review, no way. They should be reviewed. So, my advice, talk to ChatGPT, talk to Gemini, talk to Perplexity, talk to other AIs about your research. After that, talk to your friend. Not the other way around. Talk to your friend, you got confused, talk to ChatGPT, finish, then you submit. Salah. You talk to ChatGPT, talk to machine, internalize with you, talk your friend, human to human, then discuss with your supervisor, which is human. Yeah. So the first one, to warm up your mind, your brain, your thinking, and so on, talk to ChatGPT, talk to Gemini, and that's fine. That's very good. Yeah. Then talk to human. Then you will get more insight on it. I think masih ada satu kalau nggak salah. Oh, yes. AI and research transforming the future. Yes. So you need that data analysis, interpretation. It's very good. Handling pattern itu perlu dibantu sama AI. Lebih cepat. Dia matanya nggak pakai pedes-pedes gitu kan, lihat data yang kecil-kecil dan seterusnya. Literature review, yes, you need AI at the beginning. That will help you to comprehend quick mana yang harus tak baca, terus lama-lama mana yang harus tak baca lebih dalam, mana yang harus tak buang jauh-jauh. Ya, you have to do a lot of thinking deeper. Kalau zaman dulu saya sebelum ada AI ya semua dibaca semua. Terus lelah, the end of the day, baca apa Pak? Embuh tadi. Mumet saya banget gitu ya. Yeah, so experimentation, predictive modeling and simulation, it's good with AI. Ngirit tidak harus di lab dan seterusnya dan seterusnya. So routine tasks, you can keep it to AI. But again, after talking to AI, you have to discuss that with a human for the context and for the in-depth. Nah, so ada pertanyaan, karena di sana bilangnya thank you. So in short, AI is very good. But it's not that good. It's a large language model. Orang yang pinter membual, gitu kira-kira ya. Mesin yang pinter membual. And sounds logic, but it's not logical at all. Put it in a context. So my advice, talk to AI in your research or in your study or in any of your work. Then talk to human, to your friend. And then that will become deeper on that. A few things before question and answer. If you're interested in a conference, jualan saya sekarang, ada di UKSW nanti tanggal 3 dan 4 Juli. That's all we will talk about technology. 2 hari conference. A lot of teachers will come. If you are interested, boleh. bit.ly/itel conference. So, kon 2024. Ikut daftar, silahkan. Then, if you are interested in joining a talk, ada Telegram group. Yang punya Telegram siapa? Nah, punya Telegram bisa ikut Telegram itel. bit.ly/Telegram itel. Then there are, I think, around 1,000 teachers and lecturers talking about technology. Enggak juga sih, gosip-gosip dikit gitu kan. Ini loh Pak Jati mau presentasi ke sana, ini loh UIN mau ngadakan ini gitu. And a lot of free materials, if you're interested, then you can join that. Terus narsis yang berikutnya adalah, ada 2 buku, yang satu masih hangat. Book 1 is about teaching using technology. Gratis, itu 2021 kita dan teman-teman menulis. Gratis ada di Google Play Store, silahkan bisa di-download. Yang baru masih hangat adalah book yang kedua, Teaching Speaking with AI, a collection of lesson ideas. Jadi ide-ide yang bisa dipakai untuk mengajar di SMA atau di universitas ataupun apa. Ada ide-ide di sana ditulis oleh teman-teman juga. It's free, silahkan. Nah, yang terakhir saya narsis juga, that's my number. If you need anything, you can always disturb me. When you disturb me, then I will learn. Kalau saya nggak ditanya, Pak Tua ini keenakan tidur, bangun tidur siang gitu ya. Kalau ditanya, then I will read a lot. So that's my number. Or you can email. Email me, then I will answer pasti. I'm in social media. Jadi kalau nyari di Facebook saya ada, mau inbox boleh, di Instagram saya ada, di Snapchat saya ada, di LinkedIn saya ada, TikTok saya belum ada. Okay, thank you very much, and if there is any questions, thank you. Atau itu dulu.
Iya.
Ya. Pertanyaannya nanti.
Thank you to Mr. Gumawang for sharing such valuable insights on the common beliefs of misconceptions regarding the capabilities and limitations of generative AI in research context. Your presentation was truly immaculate and insightful. However, regarding the Q&A session from the Mr. Gumawang will be gathered together with a session after Mrs. Devi delivered the presentation. So we're going to continue our presentation to the last speaker, Mrs. Roro Devi, who will be presenting the ethical considerations surrounding generation AI or Gen I technologies, focusing on the development of policies and future research directions. To Mrs. Devi, the time is yours.
Thank you. Just wait a second. So I hope that you not will get bored. So it's gonna be like too academic. I'm going to talk about Gen AI ethic concerns, policy, and future research directions. So I'm going to talk about systemic literature review using Prisma, definition of Prisma, differences between Prisma and traditional narrative review, and my working systemic literature review using Prisma. So it's not completed yet, in the process. Okay. Yeah, systemic literature review, it provides you with the identify, select, and critical appraise research in order to answer clearly formulated questions. And then Prisma will help you to explain the procedure of how you select the criteria, research strategy, data extraction, data analysis procedure in general. So there are some steps determine the source of informations, study selection, data collection process, determine eligibility criteria, and selection of data items. So we also going to discuss the differences here. So Prisma use methodology, but traditional narrative review, they don't use methodology. It's only based on the passions of the author to provide the lit review. And then Prisma use protocol, traditional doesn't have. Prisma use systemic approach to find paper, the traditional one, they don't have it. Prisma show you how to provide inclusion and exclusion criteria, but traditional, they don't have it. Prisma allow for replications, the traditional one, they don't have it. And then Prisma use meta-analysis to report literature review synthesis, but the other one, they don't use it. Yeah, this one is the Prisma flow diagram. So basically when there is identifications, it will record the database searching, yeah, and then screening, it records the duplicate of the paper will be removed, and then eligibility, so it will record screen paper and record excluded paper. Full text article assessed for eligibility, full text article excluded with reason. And then the last one in eligibility, sorry, this one is included, so the included one will be the paper that included in qualitative synthesis, and the other one included in quantitative synthesis. Yeah. So this is an example of what I'm doing. This is my working systematic literature review using Prisma. I try to use this topic, Gen AI, ethic and policy concerns. And then, so when we talk about AI, sometimes the paper is not having a good quality paper. So I'm suggesting you that you can use this tenfolin.com. It is a free database search engines, and then you can get good quality paper. Yeah, and then after that, I use inclusion criteria 1. Now I will show you the next slide, the the display of the tenfolin. I use inclusive criteria 1. I got 249 paper. Oh, wait, yeah. So something is a little bit mixed up with my diagram here. So the first one, what I did is that I used the literature research using this free database search engine, and then this one is the keyword, yeah. AI and or Gen AI, ethic and or policy. After that, I have this article published in between 2020 and 24, and then I use all subject, okay, and then I I only search for the open access article, yeah. And then, of course, using the language English. That will be the inclusive criteria 1. And then And then the second one, I use inclusive criteria 2, and then altogether the paper of 249, I try to screen this paper using inclusive criteria 2, and then I got 12 by using this criteria. I read title, abstract, keyword, methodology, research paper, and excluded the review paper. Yeah, and I got 12. And then after that, I create literature synthesis to find future research direction. So this one, Tan Phon Lin, yeah, this one is free. You can get good quality paper, yeah. You just use this advanced search, and then you put your keyword here, and then try to get like the latest 5 years of the research regarding to this keyword. Yeah. Then the future research directions that I suggest is that, as I have told you, this is working systematic literature review using Prisma. So in the field of education, English and business study, the current study already found the ability to integrate Gen AI into learning activities to foster student critical thinking. And then another finding, a significant role of student ethical judgment inspired by moral equity, contractualism in envisaging their ethical behavior in academic setting. Yeah, and then the paper have acknowledged ethical concerns such as plagiarism, equity, and access. However, the study lack of clarity to explore and observe how teachers design learning to avoid plagiarism, equity, and access when they incorporate a Gen AI to foster student critical thinking and ethical judgment. Another suggestions that I want to propose for the future research directions for the subject media and communication, the current research have found Gen AI can replace personal touch, such as authenticity, human connection, and cultural identities. Yeah. In hotel service delivery. And then intentions of people to use dating apps deriving from substantial predictive power with social influence and price value and habit, although they know privacy data risk. Okay. So future studies should explore how hospitality service delivery apps integrate authenticity, human connection, cultural identity with respect to customer privacy data risk. And then future studies should address how dating apps user manage their anxiety toward privacy data risk. Yeah. So the next plan what I'm going to do is that I'm going to duplicate what I've done with the first search data engine, because I only got 12 to be synthesized. So to be like having more explorations of Gen AI, ethics and policy, what I'm going to do to investigate in the future, I'm going to use eric.ed.gov. This one is also provide good quality paper. So you just go here with the Alpha Research tag, put your keyword, and then try to click on certain dates that you want, yeah, description and other selection here, yeah. Okay, so I think that's all. Hopefully that will provide you with the informations of how ethics can be proceed in the future study. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mrs. Devi, for sharing insightful information and suggestions for using AI tool such as Prisma, the ethical considerations and future directions for the educational research. Ladies and gentlemen, we've just heard from our two esteemed speakers who shared their valuable insights and also materials about the topic of the myth of generative AI, and also the policies and future research considerations and directions in using the AI tools in educational research. Now, as I have mentioned previously, that now we are coming to the last Q&A or question and answer session. So this Q&A will cover both of the topics being presented by the speakers. I would like to allow 2 questionnaires here, one from the online presenter and one from the offline presenter. Thank you so much.
Yes. Thank you very much for the opportunity. The first for Bapak Dr. Kemawang Jati. I'd like to ask, dealing with the lecturer and student relation in research writing, like writing project. I had the experience of my student graduating from UIN Salatiga. She confessed that she used ChatGPT for making skripsi, but it has passed. Yeah, so I don't know how she used that. So I think we should consider about the suggestion of whether the student should confess which part of GPT that he or she used in his or her graduating papers. What do you think about that? For example, finding the literature, the underlying theories, or creating the gaps and novelties of the research, blah, blah, blah. So is it necessary to confess using ChatGPT or not? And maybe there is a particular tips for that. Yeah. And the second, dealing with the reviewer of journal, I read in Elsevier policy that it is not good for the reviewer to copy paste the title or abstract or introduction, and for example, create 5 critical questions to this manuscript, because we do not know in the future who used the data and what's for blah blah blah. But I think this is very helpful, to make a very quick review of the manuscript without reading the text, And for Bu Dewi, how can I get the Prisma? Is it free or is it chargeable, or any kind of way of finding the website? I searched for the website, but I didn't find the maybe free download, or is it we should pay for that? Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Pak. You got 2 questions. I'll try to answer that. In relation to the use of ChatGPT, when the student use ChatGPT, they have to admit that they use ChatGPT to talk to, not before graduate. They have to put it, yes, I'm using ChatGPT to discuss my ideas, but it's not allowed to copy, paste, or cut and paste from the ChatGPT. As a friend to talk to consult, that's fine. Then they have to admit that I'm using ChatGPT, I'm using Gemini, I'm using this to consult, to talk about this and so on, especially while during the tutorial with the professor. And they are not allowed to cut and paste. That's like you cut and paste from books. It's not allowed. That's number 1. Number 2, with the reviewing journal. The idea of ChatGPT or generative AI is, again, a friend to talk to. So if I got a manuscript, then I put it in a ChatGPT, then can you criticize this and that and so on? That's the wrong way to do it. The better way to do it, I read it, and I want to know deeper, then I consult ChatGPT. If upload it there, then the ChatGPT do it, the reviewer is not human, the reviewer is a machine. It will be completely wrong, I think. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Prisma is a framework, Pak Faisal. So it's not technology or technology tools that can provide you with such kind of selection and categorization of the research paper. So Prisma is a framework, and then you have to do it by yourself. but you will have such a good quality paper when you go to Eric and Tan Folin. Yeah, compared to Reddit ya Bapak ya. Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Any more questions?
Yes, ma'am. So the next question would be from the online presenters or participants. Here is from Winda, asking for Mr. Jati. How much AI involvement in a journal article is accepted to be published? If only there are some AI-generated machine to identify how much percentage of the AI-based work of students, then how much percentage would it be accepted by the journal? Thank you.
Okay, to be honest, I don't know. I'm not working in that area, that's number one. If we are talking about percentage, agak susah. Karena yang menulis, kalau itu yang menulis 1% pun mengambil tulisan yang dibuat oleh ChatGPT, ya namanya juga menyuri, cheating. Because the use of AI is to consult, to talk about. Before I present doing my slide, I'm consult ChatGPT and consult those three. Do I cut and paste? No. Karena semuanya jelek, nggak akan cocok untuk audience di UIN Salatiga, nggak ada yang cocok. The situation is very good with high language whatsoever. Then I have to adjust everything. But the idea is the result from I'm talking to ChatGPT. So if you ask how many percent, to be honest, I don't know. I cannot answer that one. Thank you.
Very informative answer. Thank you so much. And we actually still have one more question from the online presenters, participants, I'm sorry. But my team is still looking for selecting the question. Should we wait or just pass it?
Sorry?
Should we wait for the question to be accessed, or we need to pass?
Well, if there are some good questions, then we can wait.
All right, sure. All right, I would like to let the online participant to raise your hand for anyone to ask the last question to our last speakers.
Kalau tidak ada, tidak apa-apa.
Oh yeah. So I think there are no any other questions here. As the time is ticking, the clock is keep ticking. I think it's enough for us to cover all of this presentation, also Q&A session. I would like to give some conclusions out of the presentations and materials given by our presenters. So AI is just used as our assistant. It doesn't initiate any move or thinking. We initiate it as human. It just proceed the rules that we give to them. It's just run a rule, run an instruction. So we just use it as an assistant, but not as a mentor. The mentor is that our friends, our teachers, all right? And so if you want to use the AI and finding the best and most suitable answers, please make sure that you specify your questions from the context, from the detail and clarity, so that you can gain the most appropriate and also maximum answers that you can get to support your data. That's it. Thank you so much. And before we close this event, firstly, I would like to once again thank you for all of our speakers today in this very great international colloquium, for the immaculate materials and also presentations. Thank you also for the participations of our both online and offline participants. So I think it is a very enlightening and informative seminar for all of us. As we conclude this seminar, I would like to leave you with a quote by Albert Einstein. The important thing is not to stop questioning. Curiosity has its own reason for existing. So I hope this seminar has sparked your curiosity and inspired you to learn more about the topics we have covered today. I wish you all the best in your future endeavors and hope to see you again in the next seminar. Thank you and have a great day. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Boleh foto bareng-bareng ya? Iya. Mas yang apa? Siap Mas kameranya Mas? Iya.
Untuk para hadirin sekalian, jangan lupa untuk men-scan kode barcode di sini. Itu untuk sertifikat dan juga attendance. Terima kasih. Alright, sebelum teman-teman meninggalkan ruangan acara, mari kita berdiri bersama, kemudian memposisikan diri untuk mengambil foto bersama-sama. Terima kasih.